This has got to be the first question I get when people realize that I invest in real estate full time, or that I help people invest in real estate, or that I own a company that buys a lot of real estate. I always get that same question. Hey, how do I get involved buying real estate? Because I think that everyone fundamentally by this point in our economy knows that investing in real estate is the right way to go. But everyone has the same question. Well, how do I get started? Where do I begin? There's a bunch of courses and there's a bunch of gurus, but here's just 5 things that are considerations. We recorded it a while ago, but I think it still holds 100% water today.
I'm Jeremy Watson, the CEO of Bedrock Investment Property, and over the last 10 years, my team has helped investors buy over 4,000 properties from coast to coast. We've bought properties actively from Las Vegas all the way to Orlando, Florida, basically everywhere in between. This video is to help you see 5 things that you absolutely need to know before you start investing in real estate. Number 1, your investment medium. You've got to define before you get into investing in real estate how you want your career and your portfolio to develop. You could buy real estate in a bunch of different ways. The truth is, you could buy real estate in single family, multifamily, duplexes, fourplexes. You could buy commercial real estate, little strip malls, big shopping centers. You could buy only real estate liens. You can invest in trailer parks. The truth is, I know investors who've made good money, virtually all of these. What you've got to figure out is what you want to be buying, what type of owner you want to be, and what type of asset can really change. Truth is, you could even push off all of the day-to-day dealings of the property. You could invest in real estate investment trusts. You could invest in syndications or tenants in common. And the truth is, there's dozens of ways that you can buy real estate. What I love about real estate is there's new things to learn every day. But you're going to be faced with a lot of different pitches and people talking about how this is the greatest thing or that's the greatest thing. You got to figure out first what you really want to do. I like single-family residential. That's what Bedrock does. It's straightforward, simple. You get to own it. You get to control it. Number 2. Location. You have to understand where you're wanting to buy before you buy, because then you got to go build a network and start understanding the market and getting to know all the people and starting to understand your numbers. The second most important thing is understand where you want to buy. A lot of times you want to buy in your backyard, and I know investors who couldn't imagine buying something that wasn't in their own backyard because for some reason like to drive by and see it. Or there are other investors who like to buy where the numbers make the most sense or where there's the most possibility for appreciation. The truth is, in your market where Bedrock usually works, it's probably terrible. All right, it's probably just a horrible place to buy rental real estate, and that's why you're seeing me. The truth is, every number matters and every market's different. We buy in multiple different markets, but they'll have different benefits and different risks. And so we buy all over the country specifically because markets are different. So you have to figure out where you want to buy. We can help you with that. Number 3, hassle. All right, you've got to figure out how much hassle you want in your real estate, because the truth is, you could be involved in every single piece of your real estate, be a craftsman as I call it, right? You could decide how to put the Wi-Fi just right on the side of the building, and you could deal with the property every day, and you could screen your tenants 6 ways from Sunday and figure out that you never rent a tenant to someone who hasn't lived in the state before. You could do all sorts of work and really figure out exactly how you want your real estate portfolio to be. I know people who have made millions doing exactly that, who I respect and love, but they have small portfolios because you just can't handle that much property. Or you can offload a lot of the work for the properties and hire property managers and business managers, hire good people and talent, and really leverage the work that's being done on your behalf. You can grow a gigantic portfolio. That's what Bedrock does. We help people build big portfolios over time where people don't have to do a lot of their own work. So you got to decide for yourself before you really get into this, how much hassle do you want? You want a full-time job, part-time job, no-time job? Those are questions that have to be answered really before you start putting money across the table. Number 4, you got to know your numbers. All right, you got to know your purchase numbers and what you're going to be spending and what you're going to be getting. The number of people who invest in real estate and say, hey, it's a great deal without having any idea what a great deal looks like is frankly shocking. To give you a super simple way to look at it, the 1% rule is ancient. Okay, the 1% rule has been used in real estate investing since before there was real estate investing. It's probably been used since Adam when he bought his first rental. Now the truth is, 1% of your purchase price should be your rent. It's even a simple rule to use. We use 100 times, but it's just a little easier to figure out what the margins might look like on that deal. But if you've got a $1,500 a month rental, it should rent for 100 times that, or you should buy it for $150,000-ish. There's a little wiggle room on each side of that number. The lower the better. If you've got a $2,000 a month rental, we'd hope to pay about $200,000 for that asset, and we have about 4,000 times. So the truth is, those deals exist. You may be hearing my voice and thinking that sounds crazy, because in your market, those numbers may be astronomically far off, which is a pretty good indicator that you live in a place where it's a terrible idea to buy investment real estate. Sorry, the numbers just might not support it. Number 5, you've got to know your expense ratios. Okay, your expense ratios are crucial. If you're bringing in $1,000 that costs $999 $1,000 for $1,200 to manage that asset on a monthly basis because the expenses are off the charts, what are you doing? Or you got to know how much of that money is going to go right back out. Now, I'm currently buying in 5 major U.S. markets. I'm helping investors buy in 5 major U.S. markets, and those markets could not be more different. In one of my markets, the homeowner's insurance is 4 times what it is in another market. In that same market that has high homeowners insurance costs, it also has homeowners associations dues on almost every house. So I could buy with a whole lot higher expenses, or I could just buy in another market with lower expenses. The truth is, we're buying in Market A because the appreciation is incredible. It was just named one of the best places to invest in the country. It is. It's been great for years, and it's appreciating like crazy. But you have to know how much money is going out and for what reasons. Homeowners insurance in some markets is astronomically high. Homeowners associations exist in some markets and are very typical and don't exist in other markets. And when you deal with homeowners association, you get a big old list of covenants that you have to comply with. And property taxes can be enormously high in some markets and basically non-existent in other markets. And some markets have a homeowners exemptions with property taxes, where if you buy it as a single, like a residence where you're gonna live there, your property taxes are about a quarter of what they are in other markets. And so you buy your property and you think, I got this great property tax deal, and then your property taxes quadruple. You've gotta know those expense ratios before you put money across and get into something you don't really know how to get out. The truth is, my team's helped people do this about 4,000 times, as I said, over the past decade. This is all we do. We love it. We'd love to help you with it. These are just 5 things you have to understand. What's my investment medium? What's my location? What level of hassle do I really want? What are my purchase numbers? What are my expense ratios? So hopefully that will be helpful.
Yeah, that's still as true as the day I recorded it. You really have to decide what you want to be investing in before you start investing in real estate. Now, most people start off with single-family residential where they live. The reason I'm not in love with that is because where they live might be hot garbage. It might be trash. It might not be a landlord-friendly state. You only figure that out when you have to do your first eviction or when you have your first set of legal challenges. It might have horrible GRMs, kind of the math might be terrible. If you're in Northern California, you're buying between like 250 to 350 GRM. What that means is you're spending $250 for $1 of rent per month, or $350 for $1 of rent per month. We buy right now to, April 23, 2025, we're buying really actively at sub 160 GRM. So we're paying like 160 or less for every dollar of rent we're buying per month. That number used to be a lot lower. We have bought as low as like 75, 80 GRM, but the numbers have changed, times have changed. And so, your market might just be horrible when it comes to the fundamental math. It might be horrible when it comes to the fundamental legalities of being a landlord. I would say in the last 7 years of us buying rental real estate, the environment has gotten harder for landlords because the sentiment towards landlords has gotten a lot more polarized. I think that landlords provide some useful services, and as long as you're not reducing housing stock permanently, I think that it's an important thing to have in the economy is rentals. But there are some big players out there that have made it hard for everyone to feel human in the space. And so there's more polarization in having renters at all, or treating real estate like an investment. I can see both sides of that story very, very intimately. But I totally agree with these sentiments first and foremost. Figure out what you want to invest, how you want to invest, how involved you want to be, and then, figure it out from there. If you just want to start buying single-family residentials, you can learn almost everything you'd ever want to know on owning real estate online. We share a bunch of stuff for free. But as soon as you want to have someone help you with it, you've got to realize that for every amount of passivity you get, you're giving something up. If you're buying real estate investment trust, you're buying into a large, complicated asset where you own shares and they hold all the cards and control it. If you're buying into syndications, you're buying into a large, complicated asset where someone else controls the timetable, someone else controls the finance, someone else controls the success of the product. We like single-family residential because it's a simple, straightforward asset class that anyone can kind of take over from us if they want. We've had that every once in a while where people want to, just have more control over an asset that we've helped them buy. That's fine. Like with single-family residential, you can say, hey, Jeremy, this has been good. I actually want to manage this in retirement myself. But they come back and buy more properties with us, and then they manage them. The real reason that we offer a business management contract was to tie ourselves towards buying good assets on the front end. And so I think you've just got to look at all of those pieces, figure out how you want to be investing, how actively you want that to be, what type of asset class you want to be in. You can research all of that on YouTube, basically for free. But I would do 100 hours of research on the asset classes that you want to be involved in before I went and saw one house, right? So do the research, figure out what asset class you like, and then start seeing houses, or start seeing apartments, or start seeing commercial, or start seeing condos, or start seeing beach houses, or start looking at Airbnbs. Like, or call my firm and we'll just have a conversation. DM us. We'll have a conversation. We're happy to do that. That's kind of how I make my money. So I'm happy to do that. But don't just start looking at houses, because your heart will get involved and it'll get all crazy.